Most car buyers think brand loyalty and heritage mean something. But what if I told you that by the end of 2026, some of the biggest names in the automotive industry will be completely gone from American dealerships? Brands that have sold millions of vehicles are now facing what experts call accelerated corporate death. In this video, we're counting down the top 7 car brands and models facing extinction in 2026, ranked from bottom to top. And trust me, number 1 is eliminating their entire lineup right now. From brands relying on a single model to luxury names that can't sell enough cars to survive, the consolidation happening right now is brutal and irreversible. Stick with me to the end, because this isn't just speculation. These are brands with actual corporate deadlines in 2026, and missing this could leave you stuck with a car nobody can service. Number 7, Nissan Versa. The Nissan Versa represents something bigger than just one model disappearing. It's one of the last genuinely affordable new cars you can buy in America, and it probably won't make it past 2025. The average new car now costs over $49,000. Monthly payments regularly exceed $750, and nearly 1 in 5 new car loans surpasses $1,000 per month. Nissan is looking at these numbers and making the same calculation every other manufacturer is making. Why build cheap cars when trucks and SUVs make so much more money? The Versa doesn't fit into that high-margin strategy. When it disappears, it takes away one of the last entry points for budget-conscious buyers who need reliable transportation but can't stretch their finances to accommodate $50,000 price tags. This isn't just Nissan's problem. Subprime auto loan delinquencies have hit record highs, with over 6% of subprime loans now more than 60 days past due. That's the highest level since tracking began. Manufacturers are responding by eliminating the very vehicles that could help people avoid those crushing payment terms. The Versa's disappearance signals that automakers have decided to abandon the lower end of the market entirely, leaving those buyers with increasingly limited options or forcing them into used vehicles. The ripple effects of losing affordable cars like the Versa extend beyond individual buyers. When entry-level vehicles disappear, the entire used car market shifts upward in price. People who would normally buy a cheap new car are forced into the used market, driving up prices for older vehicles. This creates a cascade effect where even 10-year-old cars become unaffordable for working-class families who just need basic transportation. Nissan's decision to potentially cut the Versa also reflects a broader industry trend toward abandoning volume in favor of profit margins. Automakers used to compete on offering the most affordable, reliable transportation. Now they compete on who can extract the highest profit per vehicle sold. The Versa's profit margin per unit is minuscule compared to a Nissan Armada or Frontier truck. From a pure business perspective, it makes sense to kill the Versa and focus resources on higher margin products. But this strategy ignores the long-term consequences of abandoning an entire customer segment. When Nissan stops offering affordable cars, those buyers don't just disappear. They buy used Hondas or Toyotas instead. They develop loyalty to other brands. By the time those customers can afford a more expensive vehicle, they're already committed to a competitor. Nissan is essentially trading short-term profit optimization for long-term customer acquisition and brand loyalty. Number 6, Acura TLX. The 2025 model year marks the end of the Acura TLX, and with it comes a milestone nobody expected. For the first time since Acura launched as a brand, they won't offer a traditional luxury sedan in America. This isn't about the TLX being a bad car. It's about the complete collapse of the sedan market in the United States. American buyers have made their choice crystal clear. They want SUVs and crossovers. They want to sit higher off the ground. They want the perception of safety and utility that comes with a bigger vehicle, even if most of them never use that utility. The sedan segment has been hemorrhaging sales for years, and manufacturers are finally pulling the plug. Acura's average transaction price dropped 6.5% year-over-year in August 2025. That means they were using heavy incentives to move inventory and clear out the sedan lineup. Even Honda's luxury division, backed by one of the most financially stable automotive groups in the world, couldn't justify keeping a sedan in production when consumer demand has evaporated. The TLX's death tells us something critical about where the American market is heading. If you're not an SUV or a truck, your days are numbered. Even vehicles with decent sales histories and loyal followings can't survive when the entire segment collapses underneath them. The sedan graveyard is filling up fast, and the TLX is just the latest casualty. What makes the sedan collapse particularly interesting is that it's almost exclusively an American phenomenon. European and Asian markets still have healthy sedan segments. Buyers in Germany, Japan, and China continue purchasing sedans in significant numbers. But American consumers have decided that sedans represent an outdated form factor, and that preference shift has been so dramatic that manufacturers can't ignore it. The shift away from sedans also represents a fundamental change in how Americans think about vehicles. Sedans were designed for efficient transportation. They prioritize fuel economy, handling dynamics, and aerodynamic efficiency. SUVs and crossovers prioritize the feeling of security, commanding road position, and the flexibility of additional cargo space. Americans are willing to sacrifice efficiency and driving dynamics for the psychological benefits of sitting higher and having more space. Acura's decision to eliminate the TLX also reflects the challenge of competing in the luxury sedan segment specifically. BMW, Mercedes, and Audi have dominated this space for decades, and even they're struggling to maintain sedan sales volumes. For Acura to compete, they'd need to invest heavily in developing new platforms, powertrains, and technology features. Those development costs can't be justified when sedan sales are declining industry-wide and showing no signs of recovery. Number 5. Audi A4. The Audi A4 has been a staple of the German automaker's lineup since the 1990s. Now it's disappearing, though Audi is framing this as a strategic nameplate change rather than an outright cancellation. The new A5 will supposedly take its place, but don't let the corporate spin fool you. This is Audi preparing for massive platform transitions, particularly toward electrification. Nameplate changes like this are often used to reset consumer expectations and prepare for fundamental shifts in how vehicles are powered and positioned. When a manufacturer changes a name that's been around for 3 decades, it signals major strategic uncertainty about what comes next. The A4 represented traditional luxury sedan values: comfortable, refined, predictable. The A5, whatever it becomes, will need to navigate an entirely different landscape, where electric powertrains, software integration, and connectivity matter more than traditional driving dynamics. This move also highlights how even premium European brands are struggling to maintain their traditional sedan offerings in the American market. The A4 competed in a segment that's been shrinking for years, and Audi is cutting its losses before the situation gets worse. The question isn't whether the A4 deserved to survive based on its merits. The question is whether any traditional sedan, regardless of badge or heritage, can maintain relevance in a market that's fundamentally shifted away from that body style. If you're holding on to your A4 or considering buying one of the final model years, understand that you're purchasing the end of an era. Parts support and dealer familiarity will remain strong thanks to Audi's stable parent company, but the vehicle you're buying represents a design philosophy and market segment that manufacturers are actively abandoning. The A4's nameplate change also reveals something important about how automotive manufacturers manage their product portfolios during major transitions. Rather than simply discontinuing a well-known model, they create the illusion of continuity by transferring the equity to a new nameplate. This allows them to maintain some brand recognition while fundamentally changing the product underneath. It's a strategic maneuver designed to ease loyal customers into accepting dramatically different vehicles. Audi's timing for this change is particularly telling. The automotive industry is in the middle of its most significant transformation since the introduction of the assembly line. Electric powertrains, autonomous driving technology, and software-defined vehicles are forcing manufacturers to completely rethink how cars are designed, built, and sold. The A4 represented the old paradigm, a mechanical product focused on driving dynamics and build quality. The A5 will need to represent the new paradigm, where software capabilities and electric range matter more than horsepower and handling. Before we get into the brands facing actual extinction, the ones that might not exist at all by the end of 2026, Think about how quickly this industry is changing. If you want to stay ahead of these shifts and know which vehicles to avoid and which ones might actually hold value, subscribe now. The next three brands we're covering aren't just discontinuing models. They're facing complete market exit from the United States. Number 4. Maserati. Maserati is a luxury brand with serious prestige problems. Despite recent new product launches, they sell fewer cars annually in America than Porsche moves in a single quarter. That's a catastrophic volume problem for a brand that needs scale to justify its existence within the Stellantis corporate structure. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares has been brutally honest about the company's plans. They're conducting a comprehensive review of all their brands, scheduled to happen about 2/3 of the way through their Dare Forward 2030 strategic plan. That timeline puts the decision point squarely in 2026. Brands that haven't achieved profitability and sufficient scale are getting cut. Maserati checks both boxes for elimination. The problem isn't necessarily the products themselves. Maserati makes attractive, high-performance vehicles that appeal to a specific type of luxury buyer. The problem is that there aren't enough of those buyers to support the fixed costs of maintaining a global brand presence. Manufacturing facilities, parts distribution networks, marketing budgets, dealer support programs, all of these require minimum sales volumes to make economic sense. Maserati isn't hitting those numbers. When a luxury brand operates at this low volume, every economic headwind hits exponentially harder. Tariffs on imported vehicles could increase transaction prices by 6 to 8%, while simultaneously contracting sales volumes by 5 to 7%. For a brand already struggling with profitability, that's an instant death sentence. Maserati doesn't have the financial cushion to absorb those hits and wait for market conditions to improve. The Italian brand's fate will likely be decided in corporate boardrooms rather than showrooms. When Stellantis executives review the numbers in 2026, Maserati's combination of low volume, high costs, and uncertain profitability will make it an obvious candidate for divestiture or complete shutdown of U.S. operations. Dealers are already preparing for this possibility, and smart consumers are avoiding Maserati purchases specifically because of the brand's uncertain future. Maserati's struggles also highlight a fundamental challenge facing all low-volume luxury brands. The economics of automotive manufacturing favors scale. Development costs for new platforms, powertrains, and technology systems run into billions of dollars. Those costs need to be amortized across hundreds of thousands of vehicles to make financial sense. When you're only selling a few thousand units annually, the per-vehicle cost becomes astronomical, making profitability nearly impossible. The brand also faces intense competition in every segment they compete in. The Maserati Ghibli sedan competes against the BMW 5 Series, Mercedes E-Class, and Audi A6, all of which sell in much higher volumes and benefit from their parent company's enormous research and development budgets. The Levante SUV faces similar challenges against the Porsche Cayenne, BMW X5, and Mercedes GLE. Maserati doesn't have the resources to match the technology, refinement, and dealer network of these established competitors. Number 3. Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is the perfect example of how corporate strategy can doom excellent vehicles. The Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the brand's primary crossover offering, has overwhelmingly positive owner sentiment. 98% of 2022 Stelvio owners recommend the vehicle. J.D. Power gave the 2024 Stelvio a great rating for both quality and reliability, scoring 85 out of 100 in both categories. The driving experience scored equally high at 85 out of 100. So why is this brand facing extinction? Because none of those impressive scores matter when the market has already priced in the brand's death. J.D. Power gives that same Stelvio a fair rating for resale value, scoring just 68 out of 100. That resale rating is the single most important indicator of what the market really thinks about Alfa Romeo's future. Buyers know the brand is at risk, and they're factoring that risk directly into what they're willing to pay for used models. This creates a vicious cycle that's impossible to escape. Low brand confidence leads to poor resale values. Poor resale values make new purchases less attractive because buyers know they'll lose money faster than with competing brands. Lower new sales lead to dealer network erosion as franchises become unprofitable. Fewer dealers mean less service support and parts availability. That further damages brand confidence, and the cycle accelerates. Alfa Romeo, like Maserati, faces the Stellantis review in 2026. The brand's low sales volume in the United States makes it a prime candidate for elimination. Even though the products are genuinely good, the financial mathematics don't work. Once revenue falls below the break-even point for maintaining global operations, losses compound so quickly that traditional turnaround strategies become impossible. The brand enters what industry analysts call a death spiral, where every month of continued operation just digs the financial hole deeper. For anyone considering an Alfa Romeo purchase right now, understand what you're buying into. You're getting a well-engineered, enjoyable vehicle that will depreciate faster than almost anything else on the market. When the brand exits the US market, finding qualified service technicians and sourcing brand-specific parts will become increasingly difficult. Your local dealer might close or convert to a different franchise. The corporate warranty will probably be honored through Stellantis, but the practical support network that makes ownership convenient will disappear. The Stelvio's situation is particularly frustrating because the vehicle itself deserves better. It offers engaging driving dynamics that most crossover competitors can't match. The styling is distinctive and attractive. The interior quality, while not quite up to German standards, is competitive for the price point. Owners genuinely love their vehicles, as evidenced by the 98% recommendation rate. But all of that becomes irrelevant when the brand's corporate parent decides the US market presence can't be justified financially. Alfa Romeo's struggle also demonstrates how difficult it is for European luxury brands to establish themselves in the American market without massive scale. Buyers here are incredibly loyal to established brands like BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, and Audi. Breaking into that club requires sustained investment over decades, consistent product quality, and a dealer network that provides excellent service. Alfa Romeo never achieved the critical mass necessary to compete effectively, and now they're running out of time. Number 2, Chrysler. Chrysler as a brand barely has a pulse in the American market. That's not speculation or exaggeration. That's the current reality of a once iconic American nameplate that's been reduced to selling essentially one vehicle: the Pacifica minivan. The brand's entire future hinges on corporate decisions being made at Stellantis headquarters, and those decisions are coming in 2026. Here's the tragic irony. The Chrysler Pacifica is actually an excellent vehicle. Consumer Reports gave the 2021 Pacifica an overall score of 68, ranking it first among all minivans for driving tests, reliability, and owner satisfaction. This isn't a case of a bad product killing a brand. This is corporate disinvestment creating brand vulnerability, regardless of product quality. Stellantis has made it clear they're reviewing all their brands for performance and profitability. Chrysler's single-model lineup makes it impossible to achieve the scale necessary to justify continued investment. The fixed costs of maintaining a separate brand identity, dealer network, and marketing presence can't be supported by Pacifica sales alone. Even if the Pacifica continues selling reasonably well, the brand structure around it doesn't make financial sense. The minivan segment itself is shrinking as American families shift to 3-row SUVs. The Pacifica competes in a market that's getting smaller every year, which means Chrysler's one remaining product operates in a declining segment. That's a formula for disaster when corporate executives are looking for reasons to cut brands from the portfolio. What makes this particularly brutal is that Chrysler's death has nothing to do with the actual merits of its product. The Pacifica could be the best minivan ever made, and it still wouldn't save the brand. Once a manufacturer decides that a nameplate no longer fits their strategic direction and can't generate sufficient returns to justify the fixed costs, that brand is finished. The quality of the products becomes irrelevant compared to the financial mathematics of operating a standalone brand structure. Chrysler's disappearance would mark the end of one of America's oldest automotive nameplates, but sentiment doesn't pay bills or justify capital allocation. When Stellantis executives sit down for their 2026 brand review, Chrysler's lack of scale and limited product range will make it an obvious target for elimination. The only question is whether they'll try to sell the nameplate to another manufacturer or simply shut it down completely. The Pacifica's success as a product makes Chrysler's situation even more frustrating. This isn't a brand dying because they make bad vehicles. They're dying because corporate strategy has starved them of investment for over a decade. Chrysler used to offer sedans, convertibles, and a full range of vehicles. That lineup has been systematically eliminated until only the Pacifica remains. The brand wasn't given a chance to compete. They were slowly suffocated through neglect and disinvestment. Number 1. Jaguar. Jaguar isn't just facing extinction risk. They're actively creating their own potential demise through one of the most radical and dangerous strategic pivots in automotive history. The British luxury brand is eliminating its entire lineup of internal combustion engine vehicles, including popular crossovers, to make way for a completely new range of ultra-luxury electric vehicles priced above €100,000. This strategy requires Jaguar to leave dealers with essentially nothing new to sell for up to 18 months. That's not a typo. 18 months of minimal inventory and no significant new product launches while they transition to the new EV lineup. This planned product gap is so severe that industry analysts are calling it the legacy Jaguar wind-down. The brand is intentionally collapsing its current operations before the new strategy even launches. The financial risks here are staggering. Jaguar was already losing relevance in the market before this transition began. Their retail sales were declining, and the brand struggled to compete against German rivals like BMW and Mercedes. Now they're voluntarily giving up whatever market share they still had by eliminating the vehicles people could actually buy. The situation got dramatically worse in the third quarter of 2025 when a massive cyber attack crippled Jaguar Land Rover's global operations. The attack forced a month-long shutdown of manufacturing facilities worldwide. Retail sales tumbled 17% in just 3 months. The company had to implement emergency financing schemes to help suppliers stay afloat because the supply chain was collapsing without production orders. Here's the critical detail that made this crisis even worse. JLR hadn't finalized cyber insurance coverage, so they had to absorb the losses directly. For a company already dealing with significant U.S. trade tariffs of 27.5% on UK-produced vehicles, this operational shock transformed into a direct balance sheet liability. One UK dealership group, Vertu Motors, warned that the cyber attack alone would impact their fiscal 2026 earnings by $7.3 million. The Jaguar F-Pace, one of their most successful recent vehicles, is getting eliminated as part of this purge. Owner sentiment toward the 2024 F-Pace is overwhelmingly positive, with 88% recommending the vehicle and high marks for reliability and performance. But corporate strategy dictates that it has to go regardless of how well it's received by customers. The brand is sacrificing proven products for an untested vision of becoming an ultra-luxury EV manufacturer. Jaguar's bet on ultra-luxury electric vehicles represents a complete repositioning of the brand. Instead of competing with BMW and Mercedes in the traditional luxury space, they're attempting to move up market to compete with Bentley and potentially even Rolls-Royce. That's an incredibly ambitious strategy that requires flawless execution. The vehicles need to be exceptional. The brand image needs to be reconstructed. The dealer network needs to be transformed to provide ultra-luxury experiences. Any failure in these areas could sink the entire company. While these brands face extinction, some vehicles from the past were engineered to survive decades. If you want to know which old cars are still worth buying today, check out our video on 20 old cars from the 2000s that were built to last forever.